The Bitter Side of Sweet, Chapter 19. We spend a few hours watching the way station without trying to do anything. The trucks are like giant metal boxes with arched bars on the top instead of a lid. They roll into the drying compound empty, hinges rattling and wind whistling through the bars. When they lumber out filled with sacks of dried seeds, a canvas is stretched over the metal ribs to protect the cargo, and the high metal tailgate is locked. The fully loaded trucks drag along the road and the wind sucks the canvas against the metal ribs, making them look like giant starving dogs. I turn to Khadijah. There's no way we're going to be able to get into that truck while they're loading it. Many men carried the sacks onto the waiting trucks, and there was a man with a clipboard watching them. Far too many eyes. Once it's moving? I shake my head. These trucks aren't Omar's pickup. They're huge. The metal sides are taller than the men loading them, and a man with a clipboard makes sure the sides of the tailgate are latched. No way could we manage to sneak into that once it's moving. Another roadblock? Sadhu suggests. Maybe if it stopped, we could... No. Khadijah shakes her head definitively. That won't work here. We're not on some bush path anymore. There are too many people who could see what we're doing, or try to stop us, or fix what we'd done before the truck got there. We muse in silence for a minute. I turn and watch the latest truck rumble out of sight, so tall that it rips some leaves off the branches of one of the trees growing by the side of the road. And that gives me an idea. I turn to Khadijah, feeling like an idiot even as I say it. How do you feel about climbing trees? I sit in my tree, about 2 kilometers from the drying station, and chew my lower lip nervously as I see the giant truck lumber into the sight in the distance. I'm ferociously counting seconds in my head because how long it takes for the truck to get from one spot to another really, really matters. The idea is simple, but there are so many things that could go wrong, it makes me dizzy to consider them. The plan is to jump onto the top as it passes under us, then scoot to the rear where the canvas is open and drop into the truck bed. Khadijah is in the first tree, and I climb the second one, with Sadhu on my back. If she doesn't make it onto the truck, we won't jump. But if she does make it, then Sadhu and I will jump after her. Sadhu is gripping my neck in a near chokehold with his one good arm, and his legs are wrapped tightly around my waist. I've taken off my shirt and tied it around my machete, using the sleeves to secure it flat against my thigh, so that the blade is less likely to hurt us if we fall wrong. I don't know if it's the heat or the fear or the lack of my shirt, but I'm sweating heavily into the space between us. It's the only plan you've got, I remind myself, but it already hasn't worked twice. The first time, Khadijah was too nervous to jump, so none of us did. And then the second time, she missed and fell from the tree right onto the ground, after the truck. I don't know that I've ever moved so fast in my life, afraid that she had hurt herself horribly. When I got to her, she was lying in the dust, dazed. I pulled her off to the side of the road and checked her over. She'd only twisted her arm slightly, but we were all scared by the close shave. I tried not to imagine how badly Sadhu could have gotten hurt if it had been him that fell. I watch the truck grow larger as it speeds towards us, and I swallow against my suddenly dry throat. If only they weren't going so fast. I hold my breath as the truck rumbles up to the first tree. My hands are gripping the branch of my tree so hard that I can feel the bark cut into my skin, but I don't look away. Please jump at the right time, I beg Khadijah in my mind. Please don't get hurt. I see her fall, gangly and flailing from the tree. Too soon, I think, and my heart nearly stops because I have visions of her falling under the wheels of the truck and dying in front of my eyes. But she lands with a jolt that pulls the canvas between the ribs into a deep hammock of cloth. My heart lurches in my chest. I thought she had jumped too early. That truck is going way faster than I thought it was. It zooms at me. Terror overtakes me. What if I miss and land on the ground like Khadijah did and I crush Sadhu? What if I break my neck and can't help anyone ever again? What if we fall under the wheels of the truck? Jump, Amadou. Sadu whispers into my ear from where he's clinging to my back. I struggle to let go of the branch, but my heart is hammering in my chest and I'm afraid. The front of the truck passes underneath us and I know I have to jump now, but I still don't do it. It's only as I see Khadijah's panicked eyes flash past beneath me that I find the strength to uncurl my hand from the branch and launch myself into the air. As I fall, I see the canvas roof streak past below me, and I realize I've let go too late, just as I hit hard against the very edge of the truck. The cloth of the roof scrapes past my face as I struggle to pull breath back into my lungs and scrabble to get a handhold on something, anything. Sadu's arm around my neck is cutting off my air, and black dots are starting to swim in front of my eyes as I swing my legs to try to get purchase. I find myself pedaling against nothing but wind. Sadu screams in my ear, and my panic mirrors his. We're falling off! The truck lurches and I grab at the cloth-covered rib, hoping to have the strength to pull my body on top. Knuckles straining, arms burning. I hold myself up as the wind slaps my face, trying to get my feet into the truck. All of a sudden I feel hands on my ankles. Khadijah must have found a way to get under the canvas and inside. Though my arms feel like they're ripping off with the torture of holding my entire weight and my brother's, I relax and let her guide my legs into the truck. I twist so that I'm not blocking Sadu's access and manage to croak, "Go!" Once Khadijah has Sadu inside, I drop into the bed of the truck. Gasping, I sprawl across the giant, nubby sacks of dried seeds while the canvas roof snaps against the metal ribs above me in the wind. I can feel myself trembling, but can't stop. "It's not as easy as it looks, is it?" asks Khadijah from beside me, and I have to give a shaky laugh because I can't possibly imagine jumping more than once. "Not nearly. I thought you weren't going to make it, and I'd have to jump out again," she says with a sigh of relief. I roll my head to the side. She makes a face. I was not looking forward to having to do that a third time. For a moment I just savor the feeling of lying safe and secure inside the truck and moving without effort. Then I pull myself into a sitting position. "We did it," I manage, untying my machete and slipping my shirt on again. They smile. As we sit perched on the nubby burlap, picking the bits of shell out of our smashed hard-boiled eggs and flicking them over the high back of the truck, I take inventory of my various aches and pains and think that on the whole, whatever hurts now was worth it. It's been more than 2 days since anyone forced you to work or beat you, I remind myself. That should be worth some discomfort and uncertainty. I refuse to think about all of these risks, that they are only taking us farther and farther away from Molly. Staring out the rip Khadijah put in the canvas covering to get into the truck, I watch clouds flash by against the flat blue sky. This is a great way to get Khadijah home, but I just hope she keeps her promise and helps us do the same. Lulled by the hot, tent-like feeling under the cloth roof and surrounded by the spicy, dusty smell of the dried pod seeds, I let the exhaustion of the past few days win, and I sleep. When I wake again, the truck is still moving, but the sky through the rip in the canvas is dark and studded with smudgy stars. I crawl from my perch on top of the sacks near the cab to get a better look over the tailgate. We're trundling through a large town, choked with dust and cars and taxis that weave around us, horns blaring. The regular flashes of light are street lamps, and everywhere there are people. They're filling the sidewalks, spilling out of buses, ducking in and out of shops. Music blasts from windows of buildings and cars alike. I don't know how I slept through the noise as long as I did. I look to where Khadijah and Sadu are both still asleep, sprawled on top of the sacks like I was. I cross to Khadijah. "I think we're here," I whisper so as not to wake Sadu until we absolutely have to. "Now what?" Khadijah looks around the darkened truck for a moment and then wriggles like a fish to peer out as well. When she turns around, though I can't see her face, I can hear the concern in her voice. "It's really late, Amadou." "So?" "The men who came and kidnapped me came at night. It just makes me nervous is all." I nod. The darkness and bigness of San Pedro make me feel lost and small, too. But we have to get off this truck. Khadijah stretches her neck stiffly, and she doesn't have to say anything for me to know what she's thinking. I don't want to do any more jumping, either. Where is it going to stop? I ask. I don't know, says Khadijah. What? I thought you talked to the man at the way station. Well, yes, I did, says Khadijah, sounding slightly put out, but I didn't talk to him for very long. I only got the basics. We lapse into silence, each looking out, considering. Maybe we should jump after all, Khadijah finally ventures, but just then the truck pulls to a stop and honks its horn. Oh, now, I say, scrabbling my way to Sadhu. It's stopped now. We should go. Wait, squeaks Khadijah. Where's the med kit? Sadhu, wake up, I shake him. He does wake up, but his movements are sluggish with sleep, and he cries out when I bump into his arm stump by accident. I slow down, worried I'll hurt him. Come on, I whisper to him. Come with me. We're going to jump now. Sadhu lets me help him toward the tailgate. Khadijah, I whisper shout over my shoulder. I can't find it, comes her panicked answer. What? The medicine box. It must have fallen somewhere and I can't find it. For a moment I'm torn. We need to get out, but I'm not going anywhere without those 2 pill bottles. Sadhu's fever is finally going away, and except when I do something stupid like bump him in the dark or hurl him onto a moving truck, he seems to be in less pain too. Despite Khadijah's repeated assurances that we'll be able to find him better medicine than when we find her mother, I don't want to lose the medicine that we do have. Letting go of Sadhu's wrists, I move to help Khadijah. The truck lurches forward again, and I'm thrown off my feet. Too late, whispers Sadhu, and I twist around and see that he's right. The truck has made it through a giant wall, and men outlined in pools of yellow light are closing a massive metal gate behind us. Wherever it is that the truck is going, we're locked into going there too. Behind me, I hear Khadijah whisper, I found it. I don't turn around again. Instead, I crawl to where Sadhu is keeping watch and try to figure out what we do now. Where are we? Sadhu asks, licking his lips. Why does the air taste funny? The wind that's making the slits in the canvas slap against the metal ribs has turned damp and has an unfamiliar tang to it. I shrug. That's salt you're tasting, Khadijah says, finally joining us. We must be getting close to the shore. The shore? Sadhu echoes. Yes, you know, says Khadijah, the ocean? Sadhu's still confused, and Khadijah shoots me a look that says, how can he not know about the ocean? You know, the ocean, Sadhu, I mutter, bristling at the thing she didn't say. It's like a big lake with salt in it, so there's different fish. Remember, Moki told us about the ocean once? Khadijah looks away. That's right, I think. Just because we didn't go to a private school in the city doesn't mean that we don't know anything. Khadijah peeks outside, and I do the same. Huge, shadowy containers, taller than our trucks, stretch in rows off to our right. I look out the other side. They stretch off to our left, too. It makes me feel trapped and slightly nauseous. I can't see over them, and I have the sinking, nightmarish feeling that they go on forever in all directions and will never escape. Our truck turns left. I can't see the gate we came through anymore. We need to get out, whispers Khadijah beside me, and maybe you should keep the pills. I push the small box into my pocket and nod in agreement. I don't want to get any farther into this maze, and I really don't want to be found when they unload the truck. Let's go, I say. I help Khadijah to the edge and grip her forearms as she braces herself against the truck. Then, leaning as far as I can without falling out, I lower her to the ground. I let go and she drops lightly to her feet. The truck has slowed enough, navigating its way through the containers, that she can keep up with us as I do the same thing for Sadhu. Because I can only hold on to one of his arms, it's hard to lower Sadhu without him being banged against the metal. He hisses in pain when this happens, but doesn't say anything. As soon as Khadijah wraps her arms around his legs, I let go. Vaulting out after them, I land with a jarring thump I feel in my knees and at the base of my skull. Then I jog over to where they're standing in the road. worried that another truck might come behind us, or that someone might glance into the side mirrors of the truck we just left. I lead us farther into the container maze, and we vanish into the shadows. We head in the direction we came, toward the giant metal gate. All of us are tiptoeing and whispering. Other than a distant shushing sound, which I figure must be the ocean, the night is broken only by the sounds of the fading rumble of our truck, the dripping of water off the containers, and the sound of something creaking in the wind. I'm shivering with cold and fear, 3 times convinced that we're going in circles and lost forever, when the wall looms in front of us again. Off to our right is the vast metal gate, shut and guarded. Above us, the cinder block wall looms almost beyond what I can see. The glint of what must be barbed wire at the top makes me reconsider climbing it. So now what? I wish you'd stop asking that, moans Khadijah. Well, we're where you wanted to be, I remind her. She makes a face and says nothing, considering our options. We can't climb the wall, she muses. She's right. Even if there weren't any barbed wire at the top, there's no way that Sadhu could get over it with only one arm. I look around for Sadhu and see that he's slumped, exhausted, against the closest metal container. Reflexively, I touch the pocket that holds his pill bottles, but Khadijah only lets me give them to him 3 times a day, so I don't offer him any. Why don't we just wait until the truck leaves and then go through the gate, he mumbles. I'm about to tell him to not be so silly, but then I pause and consider his plan. I look at Khadijah. I bet they're going to unload the truck soon, I say. If not right away, then probably first thing in the morning, she agrees. And they'll have to open the gate to let them out. And when they do, we can run really fast, Sadhu chimes in, getting excited that we're considering his plan. It's actually not a bad plan, says Khadijah, smiling at him. They might not even chase us that much because we're trying to get out, not in. Okay, I say. We'll wait for them to open the gate, and then we run for it. It's hours later, when Sadhu's fast asleep and Khadijah and I are both dozing in and out, that the squeal of the giant hinges makes us jump to our feet. I pull Sadhu up, not wanting to miss it, and we creep forward as far as we can. He slumps into me when we pause, still half asleep. I decide to forget Khadijah's stupid rules. It's been long enough, and pop 2 more pills into his mouth. You good to run? I ask him. Yes, he mumbles, swallowing, but I'm not sure if I believe him. Hoping the pills will kick in soon, I rub his neck and lean forward to see better. When the gate swings open all the way, a truck the same size as ours pulls forward into the compound. Now, I say, and start running. I can hear the slapping of the others' feet behind me as I lead the way. Once I'm out in the open, I feel terribly exposed. There's a minute when the truck is blocking the gate, where the man on the far side doesn't see us and we can just run. But too soon, that moment is over. The, the man on the far side shouts, holding up a hand. The man on our side of the gate spins around to look where his friend is pointing and sees us. He shouts at us too, and even though I don't understand their language, it's clear they're telling me to stop. I pick up speed. When the men see this, each of them does a very different thing. The one on the far side shoves on the heavy metal door with all his might to make it close faster, trying to trap us inside. The one closest to us lets go of his half of the gate and stands to block our path. I realize that if we don't make it out right now, then not only will we still be trapped inside the compound, but the men will chase us. I wish one of us had been awake enough to realize this back when we were all thinking Sadhu's idea was such a great one. Too late for regrets now. I consider my rapidly shrinking options and decide we have no choice. We need to get out. I'm ready to put on a final burst of speed to dart around the man blocking the gate when I hear a stumble behind me. Pausing, I look back and see that Khadijah's holding Sadhu against her side, helping him run. They're moving, but they're going too slowly, and Sadhu's clutching the stump of his arm against his chest. I guess running was too much for him. I whip my head around and see that I'm almost upon the men. My options have narrowed even further. Get him to the doctor like you promised, I shout to Khadijah. and then I brace myself and run as fast as I can right into the man who's trying to stop us, knocking us both off our feet, allowing Khadijah and Sadu the time they need to scurry out the half-open gate into the night-darkened port beyond.